Turns out Kyle Larson was one caution away from sweeping the triple header weekend at Homestead. Was it a good race? And Alex Palou goes back-to-back to open up the IndyCar season. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt, doing a little bathroom renovation this weekend. Went to take the tile out of the bathroom, swung to hit the crowbar, missed, hit my hand, and now it's pretty swollen. But I'm gritty. I'm going to work through this with you guys because you deserve to know what happened in the races this Sunday. Let's get into it real quick. Starting off with the NASCAR Cup Series race, Kyle Larson picked up his 30th NASCAR Cup Series victory on Sunday when he won at Homestead. The big question is, was it a good race? Off the top, I'm probably going to give this race a 79. I've seen better races at Homestead. I've seen worse races at Homestead. This was a suitable race at Homestead. It wasn't a banger. It wasn't even a partial banger. It was just a suitable race. No complaints, really. I think that it was exactly what we've come to expect from Homestead, and we got a pretty decent finish out of it as well. From the start of this race, on lap one, Cole Custer just driving along, minding his own business, trying to keep that Haas factory car on the racetrack, gets ran into from behind by Denny Hamlin, who is just absolutely feeling himself. Got a new sponsor, feeling good about himself, runs in the back of the 41, nearly sends the 41 around, but thankfully Cole Custer's got cold custard in his veins, and he was able to hold on to that car. Denny just trying to give his new sponsor a little bit of business out here trying to wreck race cars. Ultimately, Denny would have a pretty progressive day getting through the field and ultimately end up with a P5 finish on the day. So good for him and his new sponsor. It looked like they might be in contention for the win. But then for the most part, stage number one was kind of uneventful. We did see Christopher Bell spin out, and that was unexpected. And that was really the last time we were going to hear about Christopher Bell because he finished in the latter half of the 20s and was a non-factor the entire day. Ryan Blaney goes on to win stage number one. As expected, he was the dominant car of the day. He led like 124 laps. We did have 5 drivers lead 15 laps or more, which is usually a pretty good indication of a decent race. Good parity throughout the day. We had a number of different tire strategies. For the most part, some guys running longer than others, some guys short pitting, and it makes for pretty interesting racing, especially if you're following along with the strategy. And you get to see guys with new tires fly up there, guys with old tires fade back a little bit more. Usually pretty good. During that stage one caution, though, they come down, do their service on pit road. Larson's leaving, driving down pit road. The 21 of Josh Berry launches out of his pit stall, runs into the side of the 5 car of Kyle Larson, spins himself, collects the 22 of Joey Logano out. Logano spins into his pit box backwards. He's facing the wrong way down pit lane. And of course, the Fox booth is like, Larry, is this a legal pit stop because he's got all 4 tires in? And he's like, it is, guys. Every single time this happens, they do the same thing every single time. But I guess if there's a new fan watching, they're going to want to know. But it just cracks me up that they get so excited like we're dumb and don't know what's happening here. That, yes, it is in fact legal because all 4 tires are inside the box. Regardless, the 5 car of Kyle Larson, where he got hit by Josh Berry in the door there, is also where the exhaust vents out on the left side. Well, the exhaust is right there, but there's also a vent in front of it on the rocker panel where the 21 hit him. It kind of knocked the vent there out. So it just knocked this, kind of prefabbed hole there already out of the rocker. And it's not something that the team wanted to have happen. And they were going to fix it, and then they ultimately decided not to fix it. And at the end of the day, it kind of ended up working out pretty well for them. To start off stage number 2, the 77 Carson Hocevar stayed out on somewhat older tires. He had pitted at the end of stage 1 there and kind of rode around, conserved his tires, and then restarted up front. And it looked like the field was absolutely going to swallow him up like he was a spinnerbait at the Bassmaster Classic, but it didn't actually end up happening. He kind of leveled off in like that 7th to 10th place right there and really didn't lose as many positions as I think most people thought. A little bit later on in the stage, we have green flag pit stops again. Daniel Suarez, who has had a lot of speed this year, just not the finishes to show for it, spins out coming to pit road under green. Once again, he was running top 10 on speed. That 99 car actually does have a lot of speed. I am not going to be shocked to see him win a race this year on speed and not a drafting track either. I think that he legitimately has speed to win on a normal oval or even a road course potentially. That's going to be a little bit harder. But that 99 car has certainly shown a lot of speed this year in a contract year for Suarez. Obviously, everybody's heard the rumors. He's heard the rumors. We all know that Connor Zilic exists out there. So we'll see what happens with Suarez there. But yeah, not the best look when you come to pit road there. Denny Hamlin ends up winning stage number 2. Kyle Larson was charging hard to try to get to him, and Hamlin wins it at the line by about 3/4 of a car over Kyle Larson there to pick up that playoff point. Then We get into stage number 3, 82-ish laps to go. Carson Hocevar ends up having an engine issue. He goes to the pit road. His day is done after seeming like we might be able to see 2 Spire cars potentially get top 10s. That wouldn't end up happening. Then, with 60 laps to go, the entire race shifted. Because Ryan Blaney, the dominant car of the day, went kablamo. In the words of David Hobbs, he grenaded. His second engine failure this season, his 3rd DNF in a row, the first time that's ever happened to him in his NASCAR Cup Series career, and he goes to the garage. He was mad over the radio, and then he was like, sorry about it, fellas. Hopefully we get the finishes we deserve coming. They've had really fast race cars, just nothing to show for it yet. Another week where Penske doesn't win. And honestly, outside of that 12 car, nobody else really looked like they were that competitive. The two of Cindric, though, certainly has shown a lot more speed this year than he has last year. Then we have Bubba Wallace. He's out there leading the race. He led like 58 laps on Sunday, and it looked like Bubba might pick up his first Cup win since 2022 when he won at Kansas in the fall. And ultimately, with 33 laps to go, Alex Bowman passes the 23 of Wallace, and now we're like, okay, Alex Bowman's going to pick up his first oval win in like 2.5 years at this point. And then with 7 laps to go in the race, Kyle Larson is there. He has caught the 48. Before that, he started ripping the wall and gaining a ton of time. Bowman not as committed to running the wall as Larson was. Allow Larson to get up to him. Bowman then moves up, starts to try to run the wall as well. He gets into the wall, gets into it a little bit too hard, pulls it down off of it, and by that point, the 5 of Larson blasts past him, and Larson goes on to win the race. His second Cup Series win at Homestead, like I said, the 30th of his career, and he was one Taylor Gray spin in the Xfinity race away from sweeping the triple header weekend and doing something that only Kyle Busch has done twice at Bristol, and he misses out on it. So that's kind of a bummer. I know the people at Lionel are pissed about it because they were ready to sell a triple box set for like $400 and sell out immediately, and that's not going to happen. But Larson will have another shot at it in a couple weeks' time at Bristol when he'll be running Truck, Xfinity, and Cup once again. Spire Truck, 17 Xfinity Hendrick car, and then, of course, his 5 HendrickCars.com Chevy. The Chevy in the Cup Series. Before we wrap up the Cup, though, we got to talk about a few honorable mentions. Death taxes AJ Allmendinger, finishing in the top 10 at Homestead in the Cup Series. 4 races for the Cup Series at Homestead in the Gen 7 era, and AJ Allmendinger's finished in the top 10 of every single one of them. He now has the best average finish in the Gen 7 era at Homestead, which is kind of crazy to consider because he drives for Colligan, and that's not a team you expect to be the best, have one of the best performing cars at, a certain track, especially Homestead. But Homestead and AJ Allmendinger, they go together very, very well. We also had Chris Buescher pick up a P6 finish on the day. Ryan Preece continues to show speed. P9 for Ryan Preece on Sunday. Tyler Reddick was in 8th. That 45 obviously won here last year in the fall. Doesn't have that same speed this year. Did seem like he was kind of upset on the radio, and I don't remember ever really hearing Tyler Reddick get that upset on the radio, especially about the car handling and everything like that. So that was a little odd. And then you have Justin Haley picking up a top 10 finish in that 7 car for Spire. Zane Smith, a P11 finish, a very quiet P11 finish. I don't even know if he was mentioned on the broadcast once on Sunday. And then the Xfinity fastest lap of the race, since they don't ever want to talk about it on the broadcast and they never really want to tweet it out on the internet, that belongs to Bubba Wallace. So he picks up 1 additional point for having that Xfinity fastest lap. So overall, pretty solid race. Like I said, wasn't as good as what we saw last year, but Homestead constantly delivers. I know some people are going to be like, oh, got too strung out, blah, blah, blah. Listen, it's a racetrack that has a high tire deg. Like, of course, that's going to happen, and that's totally fine because strategy should play a part in these things as well. Overall, I really enjoyed the race. Not the best I've seen, like I said, but also not the worst by any means. Alex Palou, don't you know? John Sterling from the Yankees broadcast absolutely would have loved Alex Palou's last name. And Alex Palou opens up the IndyCar season going back to back, like he's on the cover of Lethal Weapon. That's a Drake lyric there. I still don't think we should talk about Drake. We shouldn't include his stuff, but it's a pretty decent line, so I'm going to go ahead and use it here. Palou wins in St. Pete. He wins again on Sunday at Thermal. And it was a race. Let's talk about Thermal real quick, because if Lumen from Severance was a real company, they would certainly say that Thermal is the greatest racetrack in the world. And I'm here to tell you that it's not. It's a great track day track. Like if you just want to take your Porsche out, take your Blackwing out, take your Corvette, whatever you have out, it's a very fantastic track for that. It's not really that great for IndyCar racing. It's just not. But IndyCar, Roger Penske, they decided to go there and do it because they want to make the rich friends happy. So we'll watch it when we can, because the Fox broadcast cut out because Thermal just lost power, like their gateway on the Cup side of things. And it was gone for a while. The Fox, broadcast ended up switching over to the Cup Series for a little bit, and then they eventually came back. It sounded like on the international feed, James Hinchcliffe was doing a Christopher Walken impression. I'm not really sure what that's about, but it finally did come back over there. In terms of the race, though, let's get into that, because honestly, like the first 3/4 of this race were cheeks. It was not very good. If I was going to rate it, I'd probably give it like a 49. It wasn't a very good race. Decent strategy, don't get me wrong. But overall, not a memorable race, not one that you're going to really take home and be like, oh, I can't wait to get back to Thermal next year. Having said that, if they do go back to Thermal next year, I might just pay the money to go out and check it out. I was sitting around watching practice this week, and I was like, would I ever buy a house at Thermal? Not that that's not necessarily in the budget at the time currently, but I think I would, unless there's an HOA, because then I don't really want to deal with that. I might just buy my own house and be a part of a track day group somewhere. Honestly, I might just move to California so I can do the track days at Laguna and at Sonoma. That would be pretty fun. I digress. So the actual racing, though, from the start, we didn't even make it to the green flag before poor Scott McLaughlin got turned around. He's just driving his way, trying to get to the green flag. And then all of a sudden, Devlin DeFrancesco just drives into the side of the 3 car. He just does not like Dale, apparently, sends Scott McLaughlin spinning off the racetrack. And then the two of them get into it after the race. And I'm confused by it because Lil Dev got a drive-through for it because it was his fault. The 3 of McLaughlin is holding the wheel. Like, now, at no point does he, chop or even turn in on Devlin, and Devlin just cooks it into the side of him. And then Devlin's like just going off, just ballistic. And typically, in I think everybody's experience, if there's somebody that's yelling, that's very animated and is telling you that you're wrong, typically they're in the wrong here. And Scott called him the C word too, which downright hilarious, and definitely sent Devlin off. And you also forget how short Devlin is too, which isn't anything that he can do about it, but it is funny to watch Scott McLaughlin, who's decently tall for a race car driver, and Devlin DeFrancesco kind of short. You may remember Devlin from St. Pete 2 years ago, where he nearly got sent to the moon on that first lap incident there. But that happened at the start of the race. Callum Ilott gets a little bit of air. He came back down to earth. Thankfully, nothing bad happened there. Prema just did not want to have anything bad happen after having to rebuild that car following Friday's practice. And then you also had Marcus Ericsson going wide, going off track a little bit, a very dusty off track. And then from there, this race was just sleep-inducing at times. Lord of the Rings, we're just going to walk forever and put everybody to sleep, and eventually something interesting might happen, which it did, finally, because with 15 laps to go, Alex Palou has on the red sidewall tires, the softer tire. He catches Christian Lundgaard, and they have a really good back and forth. Palou passes Lundgaard. Next corner, Lundgaard passes Palou. Then Palou passes Lundgaard back again. A really, really fun back and forth. And up until that point, it looked like McLaren was going to get a 1-2 in China in Formula 1 and also a 1-2 at Thermal on the IndyCar side of things. But then Alex Palou remembered, oh yeah, I'm Alex Palou. I can just drive my way through here. He was 10 seconds back of Pato O'Ward, and in 5 laps had caught the 5 car of O'Ward, drove away from him, ends up winning by nearly 10 seconds. Just an all-time drive by Palou there. All-time strategy by that 10 car. Just incredible all around. This is why the guy has won 3 IndyCar championships. This is why he should be on the short list of drivers being considered for that Cadillac F1 drive next year. He is supremely talented in what he does. After the race at St. Pete a few weeks ago, Bob Pockrass asked Joseph Newgarden if he thought about the championship and how to stop Alex Palou, and Joseph's like, it's only the first race, Bob. We're not even thinking about that yet. He might want to start thinking about it, because Alex Palou is absolutely off to a flying start. Now they're going to go to Long Beach, another track that Palou probably can win at, and then they're going to go to Barber, where Palou can win at. Then they're going to go to the Indy Grand Prix, where Palou can win at, and then they're going to go to the Indianapolis 500, which is, in fairness, a Joseph Newgarden track the last 2 years. So I'll give it to him. But right now, the amount of tracks that you're going to give to Joseph Newgarden and be like, he's going to be the favorite here versus Alex Palou are like 4 to, how many races are there? 17. Yeah, so like 13 tracks I'm going to consider Alex Palou the favorite at, and then maybe 4 where I think that Newgarden is going to be better than him at. So for right now, if you're an IndyCar driver, you got to be sitting back being like, damn, this Palou guy is good. I know you want to race against the best, but some people probably are hoping that he goes to Formula One, because right now he's just taking everybody's lunch, eating, and he's not even apologizing for it at this point. He is Nelson from The Simpsons. He is laughing in everyone's face and does not care. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the NASCAR race on Sunday, what you would rate it as, the IndyCar race, what you would rate that as well. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at Break Hard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Break Hard Blog.